What is up everyone, and we are back with another guide about PSO2 New Genesis. Today we're going to be talking about the Klauz weapon and unit set and how it compares to our current New Genesis units and weapons. If you don't know, Klauz weapon and unit set is the best in the game for the vanilla or the original PSO2. Most of us had a goal in mind in the vanilla PSO2 of getting these Klauz units and weapons and augmenting them out to the best of our ability in order to get ahead of everybody else in New Genesis when it gets released. So many of us are wondering, how do they compare to the New Genesis gear, and when should we start switching out our Klauz gear for New Genesis gear? Now if you are interested in making these units and weapons yourself, I would highly recommend not to do that because it took us a few billion Meseta in order to make these units and weapons. But for those of us who made them in order to get ahead, let us know in the comments down below if you switched them or not. For me, I still use mine, and here are my reasons to do so. First up is weapons. Now I'm a ranger, so I'm going to be using a ranger weapon. Klauz maxed out at plus 35 grinded, gives you 243 attack. Its potential is assault unit, potency plus 20%, and after 3 normal attacks, it increases it by 3% and gives you a crit rate of 15% for 60 seconds with a 30-second cooldown. Now depending on how you augmented your Klauz weapon, your augments will differ, but here's mine. S attack 2, potency plus 2%, S attack 1, potency plus 1, and another one. Then there's S appender. After landing a hit with a PA or tech, deal 50% PA or tech damage for the next 5 seconds. Then I have another S attack 1 that gives me another 1% potency. Then there's Souls 2, which is Guardian Soul. Plus 5 to HP, plus 3 to PP, potency plus 1%, potency floor increase 1%, damage resistance 1%. X's augment gives 2 to HP, 2 to PP, potency plus 1%, damage resistance 1. Then there's Fraza, PP plus 3 and potency plus 1%. So this weapon gives a total of 28 to 31% potency increase depending on if the potential is active or not. So let's compare that to the Strega weapon. A plus 40 Strega weapon gives 283 attack, and that is 40 more than the Klauz weapon. Its potential is Berserk unit. At level 4 it boosts your potency by 27%, but you take 8% more damage, so it is a glass cannon build. With that alone, a Strega weapon does more damage than a Klauz weapon, including base damage, potential, and augments. So if you are looking for pure damage, then you should switch your Klauz weapon for New Genesis 4-star weapons. But you need to ask yourself if it's worth it or not. Should you hold on to your gear or swap out to another 4-star weapon? Here you need to look at the roadmap. In July there is a Japan and Global Web Panel event, so it looks like there's going to be no new content. But in August, new class but new defense quests as well, so it is likely it's going to drop new gear. In fall 2021, Trigger Quest, which could include these defense quests. Then finally in winter we will get a new region, skills, techniques, and a higher level cap. So in the best case scenario, we will get new weapons and units in August, but there is no guarantee for that. So in a month or so, we will get better gear. So can you use your Klauz weapons for another month? In my opinion, yes, but your damage will be lower than someone who decided to swap to a 4-star NGS weapon. So wait a month with your Klauz weapon or upgrade to a 4-star New Genesis weapon. That is totally up to you. Keep in mind, this does not account for the NGS weapons with augments. So if you do have augments on your NGS weapon, it will be further ahead of the Klauz weapon. So what am I doing? I am upgrading my Klauz weapon to a New Genesis 4-star weapon when I find a perfect roll. Now I am not going with the Strega series due to the 8% more damage taken. I'm going with another series. I haven't decided yet, but it depends when I find a perfect roll. My Klauz weapon is still viable even for the Gigantics, especially with the Thunderstorm time buff, but I do want to prepare myself for defense quests in August. Now let's talk about units. Klauz units differ depending on what S-grade augments you put on yours, but for most people they put Skydance support on their legs and the Crag augment build. This translates to New Genesis that gives you potency 8.75%, minimum floor damage 5.75%, damage resistance 4.75%, HP 17 and PP 18. But with only 28 defense, it's more of a glass cannon build. We don't know how much effectiveness defense gives you, but it's nearly half of the Giant series at 56 defense. So let's compare the two. Giant gives you a base minus 20 HP, plus 10 PP, 2% to potency, and negative 50% ailment resistance. If you put 3 of these on, the ailment resistance will nearly guarantee you will be affected by status ailments every elemental hit, so that is something to consider. If you are a ranger, we do have a skill called Bad Condition Ward that increases your resistance to status ailments, so depending on your build you can counteract this status ailment. At level 10 it increases your resistance from status ailments by 50%. There is also another skill called Bad Condition Reduction. So when you are affected by any of these status ailments, it reduces your duration. So a level 1 will give you 50% reduction, and a level 10 will give you 70% reduction. If you want to maximize this, you can put 10 into both, but that isn't viable because you only have 20 skill points, and you're going to lose blight rounds, which is essential as a ranger. So as a ranger main, if I were to use these giant armors, I would put 9 into essentials and 11 points into ailment resistances. So that would be 10 into Bad Condition Ward and 1 into Bad Condition Resistance. If you fully augment your Giant series with top tier augments, it will be Eodomina, Gigas Precision 2, Petasoul 2, Dreadkeeper 2, and we are not putting Mastery because it's extremely expensive. In total, including the base stats, it'll give you potency plus 7.5%, resistance 1.5%, HP 10, and PP 22. Comparing that to the Klauz units, potency 8.5%, minimum floor damage 5.75%, damage resistance 4.75%, HP 17, and PP 18. So if you are looking for pure damage, Klauz units are still above the Giant series. Keep in mind this is per unit, and since we have 3, we can multiply this by 3, where your stats may differ depending on the augments that you chose. If you're looking for more defense while keeping some damage, Volatile Armor is a good choice because with those same augments it will give you potency 5.5%, damage resistance 2.5%, HP 60, and PP 12. So it is really up to you to keep your Klauz units or not. I am upgrading my weapon and I am keeping my Klauz units. Keep in mind, if you do decide to upgrade, you do have to spend Meseta to do so. So if you keep your Klauz weapons and units, you can stack up Meseta so when new gear comes out, you can buy them off the market. Hopefully that will be released in August. So here's a recap. If you want the highest weapon damage, you should switch to the new Genesis weapons. If you want high damage and save Meseta, you should keep your Klauz weapon series. For units, if you just want the highest damage, you need to keep your Klauz units. If you want good damage and decent defense, you should consider switching to the Giant series. Now if you want okay damage, high defense, and high HP, try to switch to the Volatile series. And that's it for this video. I hope I gave you some useful information, and if I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more videos. Thank y'all for tuning in and listening, and until next time.